Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel, Real Talk Recovery, where we talk about recovery from addiction and I share my life with you. My name is Nicole and I'm an addict and my sobriety date is July 13th of 2015. And it is time to talk about stigma and shame. Stigma and shame. So I hope you guys are all having amazing day. Me and my little boy went to the lake today. Then I came home and I did a workout with Nick. You guys can check that out on my channel. And then I went and I had a Mara meeting. We did a Mara meeting on Zoom and I shared my story. Good job, Sarah. Did you love it? That was a great meeting. So if you guys are new to my channel and you don't know what Mara is, it's Medication Assisted Recovery Anonymous and is amazing fellowship, you guys. And it's all inclusive, no judgment, recovery support, and it's pretty badass. So I want to talk about stigma first of all. Stigma is a mark of disgrace associated with a particular circumstance, quality, or person. Stigma is a mark of disgrace associated with a particular circumstance, quality, or person. The stigma of having gone to prison will always be with me. The stigma of being an addict. The stigma of utilizing maintenance. Okay? Then I also want to talk about shame. So let's look up shame together. Shame is an unpleasant, self-conscious emotion typically associated with a negative evaluation of self, withdrawal motivations, and feelings of distress, exposure, mistrust, powerlessness, and worthlessness. So, have you guys ever experienced stigma? I have, and it sucks. First of all, I've experienced stigma from being in prison. I've experienced stigma for being an addict. I've experienced stigma for being on maintenance medication. Yeah. And so one thing that I don't think that we should ever have to worry about is stigma from each other, right? Other addicts and alcoholics. We should understand each other, right? Well, that's not always the case. So, I want to talk to you guys about maintenance medication. I want to talk to you guys about Suboxone, methadone, and heroin. And, sorry, that lip gloss was burning my chapped lips. We're going to look up and we're going to talk about what heroin is. We're going to talk about what Suboxone is. And we're going to talk about what methadone is. So, okay. What is heroin? Heroin is an opioid drug made from morphine, a natural substance taken from the seed pod of the various opium poppy plants grown in Southeast and Southwest Asia, Mexico, and Colombia. Heroin can be a white or brown powder or a black sticky substance known as black tar heroin. Other common names for heroin include Big H, horse, hell dust, and smack. Okay? How do people use heroin? People inject, sniff, snort, or smoke heroin. Some people mix heroin with crack cocaine and call it speed balling. What are the effects of heroin? Heroin enters the brain rapidly and binds to opioid receptors on cells located in many areas, especially those involved in feelings of pain and pleasure, and in controlling the heart rate, sleeping, and breathing. Okay. Mm-mm-mm. Now, let's look up what Suboxone is. Together, we're doing this together. Mm-mm-mm. I already know what it is, but I'm going to look it up just so. Okay, Suboxone, buprenorphine, common brands, Belbuca, Probafene, Buprenex. It can treat pain as well as addiction to narcotic pain relievers. Okay. Okay. I want to read about it. Okay, here we go. Sorry, guys. What is Suboxone? Suboxone is the brand name for a prescription medication used in treating those addicted to opioids, illegal or prescription. It contains the ingredients buprenorphine and naloxone. Buprenorphine, a partial opioid agonist, blocks the opiate receptors and reduces a person's urges. The second ingredient, naloxone, helps reverse the effects of opiates. Together, these drugs work to prevent withdrawal symptoms associated with an opioid addiction. Suboxone has become the preferred treatment medication for opioid addiction. It is now used more than methadone. Unlike other opioid replacement medications that require a prescription from a specialized treatment center, Suboxone can be prescribed by your doctor. Many people use Suboxone at the start of their treatment, as well as in continuing treatment and recovery. Your doctor or addiction counselor can help you come up with a personalized treatment plan. While Suboxone can help manage the symptoms of withdrawal that come from quitting opioids, it is important to find a comprehensive treatment program. Counseling and therapy can help you target your underlying reasons for opioid use and find new ways to cope with pain and stress. Okay, so Suboxone is a partial opioid agonist. Heroin is not. Okay. Another informative thing about Suboxone is that Suboxone has a ceiling. Okay. Hey, Avalon. So when you get on Suboxone, it'll reach a ceiling effect in your brain, and you won't be able to go above that or below that. Okay. You'll take the same dose every day, and you won't get any high from it. You just feel regular. Okay. So the other day, somebody told me that somebody had said something to them about Suboxone being the same thing as heroin. And so I wanted to come on here and talk to you guys about that, because as somebody who advocates for people that are on maintenance medication, as well as me being on maintenance medication, I find it highly, highly offensive to be told that I'm basically on heroin. And when I was on heroin and when I was injecting opiates into my body, I couldn't hold a job. I couldn't take care of my son. I couldn't do a YouTube channel. I couldn't have this home. I couldn't have a car. I couldn't attend meetings. I couldn't do anything. Okay? Couldn't do anything. Heroin and oxys ran my life. Now, here where I lived, it was pills that were more readily available. So I shot oxys. But I shot heroin too. And that shit took my life. It took me down through there. There's a whole community of addicts and alcoholics that are utilizing maintenance medication. And what I've come to think about, you guys, what I've come to realize is that for a long time, I wanted to help people, and I wanted you guys to find your way to recovery, whatever that way may be. And for me, at the beginning of my sobriety, I was working a 12-step program. But the longer that I stay sober and the more people that I meet that are in 12-step fellowships that judge other people that are on maintenance, and it's just turning me off from the fellowship, from the 12-step fellowships. And I keep trying to tell myself that those fellowships, that's not what they're about. But it never ceases to amaze me how many people I meet that think that abstinence is the only way and that that's the only goal. My life isn't centered around whether or not I'm abstinent from drugs or alcohol. You know what my life goal is? To be able to take care of my son, to be happy, to be healthy, to be able to feel good in my own skin, to be able to work a job, to be able to be a productive member of society. I used to focus so much on whether I was doing recovery right, because the only way I was taught to recover was through the 12 steps. And one of the things that I've realized that the 12 steps inadvertently do is that they ingrain in you the shame that if you fall back and you relapse, that you're somehow losing something and that you're not doing things right. Well, if you were just calling your sponsor more, or if you were just going to enough meetings, or if you were just praying and meditating, or you must not have had enough of a spiritual experience. What about for the people that aren't able to have a spiritual experience? What if they don't even ever get to that point? You know, I've just gotten to this point where I don't want to be about that. I want to be about helping people find what works for them. I want you guys to be able to share about what you're going through. I want you guys to be able to come in here and know that you're not going to get judged, either if you're high on drugs, if you're on maintenance, if you're not on maintenance. And I don't even think that people realize sometimes how much weight their words carry. You know, when us addicts talk to each other, I know that when you guys come here, you might not realize it, but a lot of you guys, when I'm saying things, you're listening to what I'm saying. And what I say can be the difference between you reaching out and getting help and not reaching out and getting help. And I've just learned how important it is for me to watch what I say with this big ass mouth of mine. I don't want to cause hurt or harm to anyone. And I used to be an ego-driven little shit. I used to be a mouth. But now I've learned that what that is ego getting in the way. I don't know what's best for you. I don't know how you should recover. All I know is that I can share my experience with you on how I have recovered and how I have found happiness, joy, and how I have my son back today, how I'm able to work a job today, how I'm able to stay away from drugs and alcohol today. And a lot of the ways that I'm able to stay away from drugs and alcohol is by changing my behaviors and focusing on doing the right thing. It's a lot of therapy, but I'm going to tell you guys something right now. No part of shame, no part of stigma is welcome here in my community. What?
Watch this. You think I'm really just gonna like watch?
Go ahead. Stigma is, you shouldn't have to feel bad about whether or not you can tell somebody if you're on Suboxone. You know what, Avalon? I know I have, because, and sorry, I'm not trying to be, I've realized this. I realized that it's so important, you guys. Like, I don't even think you understand how many people are desperate and they're struggling. Let me read something to you guys, okay? This is important. Please listen, you guys. Because if you have a platform and you are deterring people from seeking out help, whether it be maintenance or not, you need to reevaluate what you're saying because you don't know what you're talking about. Okay? If you've never been on Suboxone before and you're telling people that it's the same as being on heroin, you are really, really messing up. And you could really, really be hurting someone. Okay? Okay. Mm-hmm. Let me read this. Hold on. You should see all the people in this subreddit that they feel judged, or people tell them they're not clean, or people tell them that they need to get off of it. It's the craziest thing I have ever seen. And it's all coming from other addicts. It's always other addicts who are judging these people. It's like, why? What does it matter to you if someone is on maintenance medication? Anyways, I guess I'll just tell you the story. So I went into the subreddit yesterday or today, and a guy had posted, a guy or a girl, I don't know who it was, that one of his really good friends was really involved in Narcotics Anonymous. She would go to meetings. She was like 2 years sober. She was doing so good, right? Well, after being in Narcotics Anonymous for 2 years, right? She ended up saying, you know what? I'm going to tell everybody I'm on Suboxone, because nobody knew that she was on Suboxone. So she came clean. That's me. That's how I've been trained to say it. So she went ahead and told everybody that she was on Suboxone at her home group meeting. And do you know what happened? They all told her, oh my gosh, you've been on Suboxone for 2 years? Oh my gosh, what? You need to get off of that. You know you're not in recovery. You know you're not clean. And so she went and she got off Suboxone. And she ended up relapsing. And guess what? She's dead. She's dead. She died of a drug overdose. Okay? She had 2 years sober on Suboxone, was going to meetings, was very active in the fellowship, wanted to tell them and be honest and say, hey, guys, I've been keeping something from you. I want to share this with you guys because I feel close to you guys. I feel like you won't judge me. And then they did. And then she relapsed and died. And I cannot tell you how many times I've heard the same story. Oh, I'm sorry, Rob. Don't worry about that. I talked to her about that. I told her, because I think a lot of people that didn't understand when you came on, that a lot of people don't understand that when we get embarrassed or we feel like we know we're not doing right, because I'm the same way you are, we deflect with humor and we start joking around about it, right? And so I think what happened is she thought that you weren't being serious, but I knew that you were just trying to hide behind the laughing about it, because you're not proud of it, and that's okay. So don't feel judged. That's not coming from me. It bothers me a lot too, Sarah, and it happens a lot more than you guys will ever imagine. And that's the thing about it. It's like, if you're able to be sober through abstinence, and that's what your goal is, and you're happy doing that, then that's all fine and well. And I'm proud of you. Keep doing what you're doing. But you know what? Not everybody is wanting to do that, and not everybody. That's not it. Like, some people just don't want to do that. Like, and it's like, here's what I don't understand. It's like, just don't. If you don't know what you're talking about, just don't say anything. Because you don't. If you're saying that Suboxone is just like heroin, then you have no idea what you're talking about. You have no idea. Like, that's just the most outlandish, dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. And there is no doctor that would say that is a good doctor. I get judged all the time for being on methadone. So I hide it and I don't want to anymore because methadone saved my life. And you know what? You don't have to worry about that, Nicole, because I understand. I even have to catch myself because here's another thing. I need to be honest with you guys. That's why I don't talk about methadone on my channel because I don't have experience with it. The experience I had was because I was trying to get high on it. I was abusing it. So I stay away from that topic, you guys. Okay? I stay I stay away from that topic because I don't want to hurt and harm anyone else. Do you understand what I'm saying? That's why it's so important for me. I guess I've just learned that. And it comes with time, you guys. And I do realize that. I do realize that a lot of people who say these things, that they're out of ignorance, they're out of misunderstanding, they're out of non-education, they don't have education on it. But the most thing that bothers me about it is that if you call yourself helping people, then you shouldn't really even, like, all you should say is talk to your doctor. Talk to your doctor. I'm not a medical professional. Talk to your doctor. Isn't that what they teach in the 12 steps? That you're not a doctor and that you need to just let the doctors handle that, you know? So there's a big difference between opiate addiction and alcoholism. All right. It's a lot different. It's just a lot different. A lot of people struggle with opiates, and it's a huge epidemic now. And so I just think it's really important for us all to make sure that we be careful what we say, you guys. I try so hard to be careful what I say now, y'all, because I used to not be careful. And I used to hurt people and not even know that I hurt them. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to hurt anyone because I know what it's like to be hurt. It's the worst feeling to think that someone supports you and then to realize that they really don't. It hurts really bad. And it makes you second guess that person and that your friendship, and it makes you just look at them like, I thought that you were different. Because I've ran into so many people who have acted like they supported me and acted like they supported maintenance. And then when my back was turned, they were saying something else. And I just don't understand that. I'm not like that, you guys. I'm not like that. Like, I just go straight to that person's face. You know, I'm not mad. I've just gotten used to this. You know, it's like I get passionate about it, not for me, but because I want to stick up for all of us. I want to stand up for you guys. You know, I want to make sure that we don't have to worry about what people are saying, or if people are, you know, oh, I was talking to my good friend Christy the other day. Christy took me through the 12 steps when we first got sober together. She was my sponsor. And she texted me the other day to check on me. And she was saying that she knows I love me a good 12-step meeting. And I told her, I said, you know, I'm growing out of that. I'm growing away from that. And it's not because I don't love the 12 steps. It's because of the people in the 12-step fellowship who don't follow the 12 steps, who don't practice love and tolerance, who don't practice the fact that they're not a doctor, who don't practice, you know, non-judgment. It's like, that's why I've grown past that, because I'm past that. I'm past thinking that I'm better than people because I'm in a fellowship that says that abstinence is the only way. I'm past thinking that that is the only way to stay sober because I found another way that works.
Mom, can you give me a marker that will work on this guy so I can draw on it? Blue one.
I want you guys to know that there's so many different places out there there's so many different programs out there that you can utilize and you can get sober and you can work with me and I'll help you. I really want you guys, if you haven't tried out Mara, to come and join us for a Mara meeting next Saturday. Sarah, how did you enjoy the Mara meetings tonight? Did you love it? I really want you guys to start coming with us to those meetings. It's amazing. And Mara is all about you're in recovery. When you say you're in recovery, you don't have to have any fellowship's stamp of approval. Okay? You don't have to worry about losing anything just because you went back or, did something. It's all about living a fucking safe lifestyle, not putting yourself in jeopardy or harming yourself anymore. That's what Mara is about. And it's about acceptance and helping people and loving them where they're at, not pressuring them or making them feel like they have to do anything a certain way. It's changed my whole outlook, you guys, on sobriety, because for so long I thought that I had to do it this one certain way. And if I didn't do it that way, then I was failing. And I was thinking about it today. I was like, I guess I have to. Is abstinence my goal? Is that what I'm wanting to achieve? Is that what I'm trying to get to? It's like, I don't even know if that's what I want anymore. I don't know if that's what that's not my focus anymore. I'm not worried. I don't think about, I have to not take drugs today. I don't obsess over drinking or using at all. Like, that's not even on my focus anymore. My main focus is helping people. That's my main focus, is helping others. My main focus was being of service. My main focus is supporting you guys. My main focus is helping my son be a good person and learn things. My main focus is taking care of my husband. My main focus is getting myself in shape. I used to be so worried about being abstinent, and it's just like, I'm just past that. I'm just past it. And so don't feel like if you're on maintenance medication, you guys, and don't feel like you're going the wrong way or you're not doing the right thing or you're not sober. You're doing great. You just keep on pushing, keep doing what you're doing, and don't ever give up. Don't worry about what people say here on the internet. Half the time, people just say things without even thinking. They just it's like diarrhea of the mouth. So, in my opinion, being on maintenance program counts as being abstinent. I'm abstaining from anything that gets me high and brings me back to active addiction. Same. That's how I feel about it. But, and if we want to get technical, like, what I don't understand about a lot of people when they talk about maintenance is why don't they have the same energy when they talk about medication for depression and anxiety? Why is it that people want to pinpoint maintenance medication? Why is it that it's like they don't care if you're on Xanax or hydrocodone, or if you're taking medication for bipolar disorder. It's like only with Suboxone and methadone. There's this huge stigma surrounding it. And it's just like, that has to stop. Like, if you have that thought in your mind and you feel that judgment towards somebody that's on maintenance, you need to come over to this channel and see how my life has changed. Oh, thanks, Cindy. Love you, girl. See how my life has changed. See how I am the person I am today because I was able to get on a maintenance medication and stay sober. I wouldn't even be here if I wasn't able to get on that medication, you guys. I promise you. I tried so many times, and that's what we talked about tonight in the Mara meeting. I shared about all the times I tried to get sober, all the times I had sponsors and worked the steps, all the times I went to detox and rehab, the time I got locked up. The way my psychiatrist sat me down, he told me like this. He said, I want you to look at all your past behaviors, all the times you've tried to get sober, tried to do the AA, tried to do the NA, tried to do the abstinence, and then I want you to see how many times you were able to actually maintain that. And there wasn't one single time in 10 years that I was able to do that. So he said, okay, now from your past experiences, what do you think you need to do today to get to the right, to get to recovery? And that's when I got on maintenance medication. Brian, hey Brian, right. And so I don't even think that a lot of people, I think that a lot of people who kind of speak without thinking is that they have no experience with opiates. I don't think they were ever on heroin or oxy or anything like that. And so they don't even understand. And so I try to just remember that it's a lot of people that are just speaking out of the side of their mouths, right? They just say it without thinking. And then I try to like give them the benefit of the doubt. But it's like, it's so dangerous to say things like Suboxone's the same thing as heroin. And it's also a fucking insult because I'm not fucking on heroin. I couldn't do anything I'm doing today if I was on heroin. And I take that shit personally. And I'm like, you need to freaking look into that because that's not, anyway, why do people need to separate themselves from us? That's what I don't understand. Why do other addicts want to separate themselves from us? I've been doing recovery for 5 years now, y'all. Okay? I have seen people come and go. I have seen people get sober. I have seen people act like they got it all figured out. And then I've seen people crash and burn. And I'm telling you, I've been here the whole time. They'll say everyone's journey is different, but still condemn our journey because of maintenance. I used everything under the sun. I quit everything by myself, but could not quit opiates without subs. Same, Simo. When people judge people who are on Suboxone, I tend to think they are ignorant, but is very harmful to other people who don't know. I think the stigma just stems from ignorance and misinformation or just being uneducated on the subject. Yeah, and that's what I think it is too. And so a lot of the times when I hear somebody say something like that, I will literally try to educate that person. I will send them videos. I will tell them about the medication. I will explain to them. Like, I almost think that they think that I'm over here taking Suboxone every morning and being high. Like, when you're high on heroin or oxy, at least when I was, I couldn't hold my eyes open. That's not me today. I am alive and well. Look at me. I'm alive at 5, y'all. I am awake. I am vibrant. I am out there, right? I am. Hey, her opiate fix. I'll tell you this. That's another reason why, like her opiate fix and Avalon, they have experience with kratom. I don't have any experience with kratom. So when somebody asks me a question about kratom, I send them to those guys. You know why? Because I don't want to stick my foot in my mouth and hurt somebody. I don't want to say something that could maybe push that person from getting help. You know, and that used to be something I would make a mistake and do. I used to say, oh, well, you don't need to be on kratom because this, that, and the third. Well, I don't know that because I've never been on it. So why am I saying that? Because I think it and it's my opinion and I have no experience with it? How does that make any sense? So that's what I've learned. I've learned that everybody's got an opinion. They're like assholes, right? And so your opinion is not fact. And what you think that you know when you've never experienced it is not a fact. The fact is that I'm on Suboxone. I know the way it makes me feel. I know what I've accomplished in my recovery, and you can come here and see that. You can go and rewind to 2 years ago when I first started this channel, and you can see how I went through my journey. And you can see before your very own eyes how I have grown over these years, grown mentally, emotionally, and physically, baby, because I gotten thick, y'all. But that's okay, because we're on a fitness journey now together.
Yeah.
What?
Did you not know I was here?
We're on a fitness journey together, and that's okay.
Did you not know I was here the whole
But it's just
time?
like,
Mom,
I really have just learned, you guys, like, I'm not trying to, like, I really have learned that I don't want to hurt nobody, man. I want to help people.
Mommy.
I don't want to push anybody away from getting help. I don't want you guys to ever feel like you can't come here or that you're going to be judged. Like, it really, really, like, it turns me off from wanting to go into certain meetings because I know the people that are there, what they think. I know what they're thinking now. I know that they're thinking behind their mind that because they're, I don't even know. Like Simo was saying, abstinence to me is not abusing drugs. And so I am abstinent. That's what I am. Abstinence to me is not getting high. I'm not getting high. So I am abstinent. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's like,
Mommy.
What, buddy?
Can you show them what I did? That's what I did. That right there.
Say hi to everybody, bub.
Hi.
Go ahead. Tell them Nate wants to talk to y'all. You're on camera. Go ahead. You got the floor now?
I'm going to go get something.
Okay. He wants to get something to show y'all. You know, this is a new time, you guys. It's 2020, y'all. This is not 1930-something when AA first started. And just to be clear, back in the day when Bill Wilson started Alcoholics Anonymous, he was tripping balls, y'all, on sedatives and psychedelics. In fact, let's look it up. Just so you guys know, when Bill Wilson got sober, okay, he was using all kinds of shit. God, it's like, Okay. During one of his many hospitalizations for alcoholism, after a visit from his friend from the Oxford group, while he was experiencing severe delirium tremors and highly sedated with a mixture of morphine, psychoactive drugs, and belladonna, a hallucinogen, Bill experienced what he described as an intense religious... Oh, let's read it together, y'all. Y'all ready? People need to get with it. I'm fixing to lay it down for y'all, okay? It's crucial that we take a look at the life of Bill Wilson, aka Bill W., the founder of Alcoholics Anonymous, because he is responsible for creating a phenomenon that has been adopted by our society as the main treatment method for not only alcoholism, but addiction in general. A program that is falsely believed to be successful and based on sound principles, when what we really have is an entire medical society and justice system demanding attendance in a program that emerged from the mind of a man that was consumed with sexual obsession and crippling depression, and heavily influenced by brainwashing of a religious cult. Listen, I point this out not to discredit Bill Wilson. He was doing the best he could with what he had to work with at the time. Unfortunately, he didn't have at his disposal the knowledge we have today about genetics and addictive biochemistry. Wait. I believe he had a true desire to help people and was a man in search of truth. However, he did not have all the pieces of the puzzle. Before getting sober, Bill Wilson was repeatedly admitted to a hospital that was famous for treating alcoholics, called Towns Hospital, where he met a wise doctor named Dr. Silkworth. Dr. Silkworth believed that alcoholism was caused by an allergy to alcohol, not a lack of willpower, and it was the allergy that created the cravings for alcohol. He shared this belief with Bill W. and told him that once you have the allergy, you can never drink again because it results in the inability to control your drinking. This theory made great sense to Bill, and he embraced it thoroughly. And this is where the whole alcoholism is a disease concept originated. Bill W. tried over and over again to not drink, but could not succeed. Unfortunately, during this time, he had another alcoholic friend who had joined the Oxford group and an evangelical Christian cult, and he tried to convince Bill that this was the path to sobriety. Initially, Bill was resistant, but as his drinking grew more and more out of control, he was facing the possibility of being committed to an insane asylum. He grew increasingly desperate and started to be influenced by the teachings of the Oxford group, which included admitting defeat, taking personal inventory of sins, confessions, making restitution, helping others, prayer, and passing the message on. During one of his many hospitalizations for alcoholism, after a visit from his friend from the Oxford group, while he was experiencing severe delirium tremors and highly sedated with a mixture of morphine, psychoactive drugs, and belladonna, a hallucinogen, Bill experienced what he described as an intense religious experience, where he came to believe that the God was now his higher power, as he had been taught by the Oxford group. When in reality, what Bill was probably experiencing was hallucinations. The primary concept of the Oxford group was called God control. They believed that the human beings were powerless and that the only way to solve our problems was to submit our will completely to God. They also believed that all human problems were a result of sin, so Bill Wilson had adopted this concept as well. Frank Buchman, the leader of the group, had an obsession with sexual matters. He liked to focus on and pry sexual information out of his followers. He had a particular fondness for spending time with young men and talking about these matters. He was asked to leave and even banned from more than one institution for inappropriate behaviors of the sexual nature with young students that sounded an awful like sexual abuse. And if we really had all the facts, we would probably learn it was actually true. He was a very unreliable person who didn't show up for appointments and would simply state that God had guided him to miss the appointment. He encouraged others to engage in irresponsible behavior and just trust that God would provide. At one point, he actually publicly thanked God for the existence of Adolf Hitler and said he thought Hitler would make a great key person for the Oxford group. So this tells you just a little bit about where their head was at. Bill Wilson introduced Dr. Bob, the co-founder of AA, to the Oxford group and convinced him that this was the path to sobriety. And the two of them began to carry the message to other alcoholics. Now, the Oxford group held meetings around town in hotels, in members' homes, and targeted the educated and elite. It used elder members of the group to teach the newer members. The very first AA meeting was a group of alcoholics who were members of the Oxford group that Bill pulled together. Eventually, the Oxford group grew intolerant of the untidy drunks because they didn't fit in with the wealthy bunch they catered to. So they stopped allowing them to attend their meetings. Bill W. and Dr. Bob left and formed their own Oxford group called Alcoholics Anonymous, where they brought all their teachings with them. The 12 steps of AA are taken directly from the teachings of the Oxford group. In the Oxford group, the steps were used to cure sin, but in AA, they are used to cure alcoholism. Bill Wilson tells this directly on page 39 in his book, Alcoholics Anonymous Comes of Age. Early AA got its ideas of self-examination, acknowledgement of character defects, restitution for harm done, and working with others straight from the Oxford group and directly from Sam Shoemaker, their former leader in America and nowhere else. The tragedy in this story is that Dr. Silkworth was absolutely right. We now know that allergy is one of the most powerful roots in the cause of alcoholism, and that alcoholism is most definitely a physical disease. However, although Dr. Silkworth knew the cause, he didn't yet know what to do about it, other than tell Bill not to drink ever again. Dr. Silkworth and Bill Wilson were on the right track, but because they didn't yet have enough knowledge about what they had discovered, they weren't able to find a solution and stop the cravings. It is unfortunate that out of his desperation, Bill Wilson turned to the Oxford group and ended up combining the whole alcoholism is a disease concept with the religious sin concept. Thus, in the process, we really ended up losing the truth about alcoholism in the 12-step program. It is apparent when we look at the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous that although Bill believed in his mind that alcoholism is a physical disease, in his heart he felt it was a spiritual disease that emerged from sin, and he was not able to break free from the hold that the Oxford group had instilled in him. Additionally, Bill struggled with depression. Throughout all his recovery, that was so severe at times that he would hold his head in his hands and weep. He wasn't able to respond to questions, and he couldn't get out of bed. Sometimes it was accompanied by heart palpitations, a stomach ache, and feeling sick all over. His wife, Lois, often referred to him as almost a hypochondriac, and he sometimes experienced hysteria and breathing problems that he felt he couldn't control. Bill's behavior indicated that he also had a very active sex addiction that completely ruled his life and often threatened to destroy everything he had worked for. Bill Wilson's sex life is not well known or talked about because people of AA shrouded it in secrecy. It was intentionally kept out of official AA literature and archives because it would have a negative impact on the AA movement. Bill Wilson was the original 13-stepper. It is where the term was coined. If you're unfamiliar with what 13-stepper is, it is an elder member in AA who takes advantage of the newer and vulnerable members. Although Bill was married, he engaged in numerous affairs over the years with AA members, particularly the newcomers, and is said to have had an eye for the younger ladies. The older he got, the younger he liked them. The sad truth of the matter is, Bill Wilson used his position as a leader in the AA community to use and sexually exploit young women who were new to the program. His behavior was so out of control that it is rumored that certain members of AA were actually delegated the responsibility of following Bill Wilson and working as watchdogs to keep vulnerable young women out of his grip. Whenever they saw him zeroing in on his prey, one person would distract Bill while another person took the young woman under their wing. Later on, he maintained a long-term mistress with a woman who was 22 years younger than he was, Helen Wynn, and even left her 10% of his earnings from the big book in his will. Y'all, you hear what I'm saying? He had wanted to leave her a much heftier amount, but the AA trustees wouldn't allow it. Anyway, so let's just say that he struggled with depression, he was just really with sex addiction, with smoking, with women. And these are all things that a lot of us addicts struggle with, right? Bill also continued to fight intense cravings for alcohol until the moment he died. As he lay on his deathbed, he wanted to drink so badly that he asked his assistants to bring him one on at least 5 different occasions. But knowing the disastrous impact it would have had on AA, they refused. His cravings were so intense that on one of these occasions, he became belligerent and threatened to punch a nurse. So basically, he was miserable the whole time he was sober because all he ever did was think about alcohol and think about wanting to drink. And so do you understand what I'm trying to say to you guys? Nope. Whatever you got to do to get sober, make sure that you're happy. If you're miserable and you're in a program where they tell you that you have to do this, that, and the third, and if you're not doing it, then you're not sober, then you might want to try something different. But find something that you're happy doing and don't torture yourself. You can get sober and be very unhappy. He was very clearly still a full-blown addict and just switched his substances of choice and replaced his cravings for alcohol with women, cigarettes, caffeine, and religious fanaticism. So, anyways, I just wanted to talk about that. He was so these are all things that people put so much stock in the program of Alcoholics Anonymous, but they don't even understand that these were just people like us too. And so they were struggling and they were doing stuff back then, you know? And so there's no just one way to get to where you're trying to go. And I guess that's why I'm trying to say is that I've just gotten to a point where the kind of people that I want to surround me with are people who are loving, people who are open-minded, people who are honest, people who are non-judgmental, people who are tolerant, people who are caring. I want to have people around me who don't look down on me because I'm on Suboxone. And it's taken me a long time to get to this point, but you know, if you think that because I'm on Suboxone that I'm not sober or I'm not in recovery, then I don't need you in my life. And I hope that you guys all know that I will go down in flames fighting for us. I will go down in flames advocating for those of us that are utilizing maintenance medication in our recovery, because I believe in it more than anything. And the more I meet people who say these stupid things, the more it cements in my soul that I've got to fight for us. I'm serious. Like, it just feeds that fuel inside of me to just keep on advocating for us. So I love you guys. I'm going to get off here. This boy's literally wants my attention. I just want you guys to know that I love you guys, and I'm going to keep fighting, and I'm going to keep sticking up for us, and I'm going to keep going. And you guys have me. If you need a meeting and you're struggling and you feel like you can't go anywhere because you're going to get judged, text me and be like, bitch, get online. We need a meeting. Okay? Just call me. All right? I'll come on and do a live anytime. But you guys, do not listen to what any human being says. Okay? These other addicts who judge you for being on maintenance, they're just the same as us. They're no different than us. We are doing what we have to do for us. And we don't go around judging them for theirs. So why they got to judge us for ours? It's nobody's business what you're doing for your recovery. And you don't ever have to share that with anybody. And if I can tell you one thing, you don't have to tell nobody they're on Suboxone. You don't have to tell nobody. Okay? And yeah, if you want to, that's on you. But just let me tell you, from my experience, when I share that I'm on Suboxone, people discredit me. They look down on me. They act like I'm not in recovery. They act like what I'm saying has no merit or value because I'm on Suboxone. They literally look at me like I'm still on, like I'm a drug addict still, like I'm still actively in my addiction, which I can't even understand it because I'm such a different person now. So they want to see your toy. Cindy wants to see it. What Cindy, toy? Here you go, girl.
What toy?
Whatever you got over there playing. They want to see it. Both of these cars, guys. You're so beautiful. I love you, boy.
My butt is beautiful.
It is nobody's business. And you know what, Kaylee? If you didn't tell anybody, nobody would know. If I didn't openly share that I'm on maintenance, nobody would ever know. I could have a whole channel over here talking about my recovery and talking about helping others, and I could never, ever mention being on maintenance medication, and no one would ever know. The only reason people know is because I've let them know. Because, you know what? Because I want to help other people that are in the same situation. I have felt so judged by other people. And I don't care. People can say, that's not what I'm trying to do. It's not my intention. But when you are saying that somebody is on a medication and that they are that it's the same thing as heroin, that is not supporting them. That is not support. You know, I shot heroin. I'm no longer shooting heroin. I'm not addicted to heroin. I'm not addicted to any drugs anymore at all. You know, and so I'm just past that. I'm past that old thinking. And it took a long time for me to get out of that mindset. It really, really did. Because that was driven into my head that was the only way. So, anyways, I love you guys. I'll see y'all tomorrow, okay? I love y'all so much. Thanks for being here, everybody. Thank you, Cindy. Thank you, Kaylee. Thank you, Merck. Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Nick. I seen all y'all. Thank you, Lisa, Simo, Kaylee, Brian,
Yeah.
Sky, Missa,
Mom, I have to show them something that will be really cool.
Misty, all my people. Okay, go ahead.
It's this.
Oh, crash, boom, bam. Love y'all.
I'm sniffing a car's butt.